I'm Gianna White. I'm the volunteer coordinator with March for Science New York City. Um, and I'll be interviewing Hector from One Freedom for All. So, Hector, hi.
Hi.
Um, the first question is just what are the goals of One Freedom for All, and what do you strive to do within your community?
We work around food insecurity. We mobilize young people in the South Bronx and throughout New York City to be the new wave of activists, the new activists that's going to take over New York, that's going to take over the world. So we are building those new activists with our programming. And we teach young people how to mobilize around an issue, either by food insecurity or school to prison pipeline, housing, any issues that they see in the community that they want to work around and create systematic change. We work with them and we train them to be those leaders to create those changes.
Yeah, and I think that's it's really important that you focus specifically on young people of color, because environmental racism is such a big problem within the US and how these communities are disproportionately impacted. So communities and I guess groups like yours are super important.
Thank you.
Is there I know you mentioned past programs that March of Science and One collaborated on. Is there anything that you're working on now that you're particularly excited about, or any like big exciting projects you have planned for the future?
Sounds great. So during the summer, One Freedom created a youth program that we paid about 10 young people to be part of this 2-month program where we taught them mutual aid, food systems and the broken food system of the United States, and the action steps that they can take to create a new food system that's going to help the community in the long term. One of the projects that they created that we are very excited about, because we have 4 of them, are community fridges. I don't know if you guys heard of community fridges, but those are the fridges that people can take food at any point 24/7. It's in their community. So we got 4 of those fridges in New York City. We got 2 in the Bronx and 2 in Manhattan. The Ujama fridge, the Sugar Hill, which we helped create, and now the community took it over and the community is running it. And we got the SYB, the Summer Youth Brigade community fridge, and then we got the Mecca community fridge that's also in the Bronx, in Mount Eden, in the Mount Eden area of the South Bronx. One of the big projects that our young people came out of our program, because we decided to do a mutual aid collaboration with the community, and that's some of the things that our young people decided to do was, put out a fridge. We had the first fridge in the South Bronx that popped up when the fridges was coming out at the height of the pandemic in August. So we put that fridge out, and it has helped about 10,000 families in our immediate area right now, that people come on a regular, they look for it, they volunteer, and we create. We say, and I'll take a step back, with the community fridges, it's a Band-Aid. So the youth created the community fridges as an entry point into the community to create those conversations that are not being had. That the COVID-19 is something that can be after pandemic. I don't remember the term after you go through a pandemic. I forget that term. But it's gonna be the pandemic. The COVID-19 they're gonna find a cure. But there's no cure for systematic racism. There's no cure for environmental racism. There's no cure for none of these pandemic systematic issues that we go through before COVID-19. So those are the conversations that the young people want to have through the fridges.
The first thing I wanted to hit on, because it sort of aligns with some of the work that I do, is the teaching students how to grow their own foods, and the idea of farm to table, even if you're in a extremely urban environment like New York. I'm the co-director of Urban Food Lab, as well as a representative from Art for Science, and we have a vertical farm in Brooklyn. And we grow all sorts of foods. We try to, some of it goes to our students, and some of it we try to distribute throughout our community, whether that be in like restaurants. And after, hopefully once the restrictions have died down, we're looking to work with local shelters to try to give them more fresh produce. But I really liked the question that you brought up, like teaching your students where your food comes from, because like within the larger sustainability movement, which has for the past couple of years been very largely white and Western, and the voices there say that we should be prioritizing like going strictly like vegan and shifting to these more like plant-based diets, which is true. We should start to shift to these things to be more sustainable. But something that a lot of people forget is that you do need to start eating more locally sourced foods. That is the bottom line, most sustainable thing that you can be doing. And it's really impressive that you're doing that within like a very urban environment like New York, and you're teaching all of these young people who can then, like you said, share with their families. That's another thing I wanted to touch on. Um, the idea that like you're acknowledging the cultural differences within your communities, and maybe you're not like I'm sure there's like tons of fruits and vegetables that I have no idea about, that I don't get when I'm out grabbing groceries, because they weren't in my house growing up. So I think you touched on it a bit, but like what do you think are like the benefits of like passing down this information to younger people within these communities?
It's generational knowledge that has been stripped from us when we were brought here as slaves to the new world. They brought us here because they knew that we knew agriculture, and they knew that we knew how to work the land. And at the same time, they took that knowledge away from us. And that's one of the reasons why we want to teach our young people to build that relationship back again with the earth, because it's therapeutic. And so that's some of the things that, we need to cultivate. And we need to not go back to the so quote unquote normal, because it's no normal. They just killed Devontae Wright in Minnesota at the like 10 miles away where Chauvin is being tried for the murder of Floyd. So it's like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what we're going through. The pandemic, like I said before, of police brutality has been happening before COVID-19. So just because it's heightening now doesn't mean that it hasn't been happening. But it's been happening, like food insecurity. A lot of people have been hungry for a long time. Now that the pandemic hit, everybody's saying, "Oh, there's shortage of food, and people are going hungry," when that was happening way before. So just bringing down knowledge and the young people passing that down, because they are the future, and that's what we're building.
Yeah, definitely. I think I wanted to go a bit more into that too. Just what the current I guess state of the world has, how it's impacted, I guess, your work, and just touching a bit on like you're mentioning earlier, how there are a ton of systemic issues that plague a lot of our communities, and it's very hard, especially when half of us are inside, half of us are still working in very unsafe conditions, and the people who are inside are constantly being exposed to all of this genuinely terrible news. It's not new news, like you were saying, but constantly being exposed to the killings of Black people and police brutality can be very mentally draining. So in your work with like, yeah, especially with young people of color in your community, and just as a person of color yourself, is there any advice that you have on like how to keep going, on how to stay optimistic, and how does the state of the world now sort of drive your passion to do what you do?
So the first part, if I have any advice to people on how to keep, the fight going, because it is very draining to hear this. It's like, it's now it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's you desensitized to the killings. People are desensitized to it. People look at it, oh, that's just another one. Just like DJ Khaled, another one. So it's crazy. I mean, it's just you got to keep it push. You got to keep it pushing. You got to keep the momentum going, because even though this is happening, there's a lot of movement happening right now. People are not leaving the streets. And if you see in New York City, there's something happening every day out in the streets. People just need to tap into it. People need to look for it, because there's something happening, positive happening, and just focusing on the positive and living the lives and thinking about the life that those people that the police have killed, thinking about the positive of those people and what they had, and trying to push their memories forward and the things that they were trying to do when they were alive. So thinking about that, me, like this morning, I was angry. I was listening to Democracy Now, giving them a plug, Democracy Now, Amy Goodman, and they were talking about Minnesota, Minneapolis, and what's happening over there. And I was angry the whole day, driving to the office, and shortly I will show you how the office looked and the fridge and all of that. But driving down, I was very angry at what was happening. But then I went to one of my fridges. I saw the community and the work that the community is doing. That uplift me. Us is is finding that passion, finding that motivation to keep going, even if we don't have any money, and because it's for the greater good. So that impact, that aspect of it, the economics of it, impact us very hard during the pandemic, because we just had a new space, and I want to show it to you guys here. At the beginning of the pandemic, we got this space here in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. We were supposed to do a lot of different events here, have funders here, and just fundraise money. And then we couldn't do anything during the pandemic, and now we got to close down and move to a new space, because we don't have funding like that, and that's why we we want everybody to get involved. We want freedom. Because I don't see my face right there. I want everybody to get involved. We want freedom, by going to our website, www.onefreedom.org. And you can find ways to get involved with the fridges, get involved with the academic stuff that we are doing for our students. We do coding classes, we do graphic design, we do photography, we do many different tracks here in our office space. And now we gotta rebuild our membership over there in the new space. And it's all for lack of funding. So we need help with that, and we need as much help as we can from our communities, from the community at large, the global community, because organizations like this, more organizations like this doing the day-to-day work for you, for the community, get overlooked, because we're not out there. We're not the face of a movement. We're just doing the work that needs to be done to move movements along. And I want to show the fridge real quick. We're gonna fill it up. We're gonna go outside, so you guys see what we do. We get deliveries every Tuesdays from Rap for Bronx, one of the organizations out here, and in the Bronx. We get food from South Bronx Mutual Aid. We get food from many different places around the community. Community members bring food to the fridge. This is how the fridge looks right now. That's some of the art that we have for the fridge.
Yeah, I love the art inside too.
Yeah.
It's great.
So we got 4 of these fridges out right now. So what we do with these fridges is we get these boxes from the USDA, and then we fill them up with some of this food. We had it filled up, but people just come and take it. As soon as we open those boxes, people come through and take everything that we get.
Is there a way to donate directly to One Freedom or just the Fridge Project?
If they go to our website directly or our Instagram, our website again is www.onefreedom.org. Our Instagram is @OneFreedomForAll. The number 4 all, One Freedom for All. And just hit us up at any time or send us an email at info@onefreedom.org, and we can get back to you with anything that you can give us, even if it's not money, even if it's your time, even if you want to do a workshop for young people, anything you like to do that's going to further the fight to change systems of oppression in our communities. You name it, you can come, and we are open to it. So please let us know, and we are here.